Jason Gorber is a film critic for twitchfilm.com. He joins us now in Toronto. I am dying to hear what you think of this movie. What do you think?
I liked it.
You
I
liked
didn't love
it.
it. I didn't hate it. I liked it. So here's the deal. I'm not a really big comic movie guy. I like when somebody like Christopher Nolan really takes the genre and makes it a little bit darker. But Iron Man's just a lot of fun because of the main special effect in the film, and that's Robert Downey Jr. The man's tremendous. He was born to play this role. He is sarcastic and sardonic and completely nails the tone of what this character needs to be. This is better than the second one, but not quite as good as the first one. And as much money as Avengers made, I think this is actually probably a better movie than Avengers. It certainly has the spirit of Avengers, of him dealing sort of with post-traumatic stress after all the insanity that happened at the end of that movie. It's a lot of fun, and I really think, I mean, it's going to make a fortune. It's making Robert Downey Jr. Dozens and dozens of millions of dollars. What's not to love? It's the really, really big kickoff of this season's blockbusters.
He's so eccentric. People love this guy, don't they?
Yeah, and he's had a fascinating career. Remember, he was doing all kinds of art films. He was doing stuff like Chaplin for Holtman, and then ran into a lot of trouble with substance abuse and really has picked himself up. And because he's so self-effacing, because he's so damn charming, he can absolutely nail it in a film. And Iron Man is, as silly as it is, and as comic book movie it is, it completely speaks to his spirit, and people just love him on screen.
Okay, what about Hot Docs? Last day today?
Yeah, it's so weird. It's with all the pre-screenings, it feels like I've been doing this for a year, but no, Hot Docs has been amazing. I've seen a ton of stuff, and just for the people who aren't in Toronto, don't get a chance to go to Hot Docs, a lot of the documentaries that we'll be playing here will be playing across the country in various festivals, might show up on television, but there's something extraordinary about seeing some of these films in a theatrical experience with an engaged audience. There's one film I saw which was originally done for web, but we saw it as a 3-hour epic thing on screen, a special presentation of a film called River, which is done by the Ross brothers. They're weird experimental documentarians which should put off like a whole bunch of audience like, what's going on here? It's basically 4 guys buy a really crappy houseboat and then travel from Cincinnati and they head towards New Orleans. It's 4 guys that should be totally obnoxious and totally silly, but it is stunningly beautiful. And to sit there for 3 hours and watch this unfold is absolutely one of the highlights of my festival. It was such an amazing time.
So you really liked it. What other movies did you watch?
I also saw CAUCUS. AJ Schnack is an incredibly great filmmaker. He had 2 films that I loved in this festival. CAUCUS being a second one about the Iowa caucus, following the American political process from the hands-on. We're fascinated with that process in Canada. We send news groups down to see what's going on in Iowa. This is absolutely seeing the nuts and bolts of the process that these guys go through. Everything from eating veggie corn dogs to waving a lot, to butter sculpture to waving at everything. It's very, very cool. Also saw an amazing film called 12 O'Clock Boys. It's about these motorcycle riders in Baltimore. I'm a humongous fan of The Wire, the David Simon story set in Baltimore. This is a real-life story of one of the kids from the corner who is joining a gang, and rather than slinging drugs and doing all the stuff which stereotypical takes place in these kind of urban stories, their crime, as it were, is riding their motorcycles at the 12 o'clock position. Just crazy YouTube stuff. It is such an amazing documentation of something that so often documentaries don't tend to do. Telling you a story, following it over an extended period of time, not knowing where it's going to go, and completely nailing it. And finally, I have So's Litter. Tiller, After Tiller. It's a documentary, an incredibly important documentary about the abortion debate in the United States. And what's remarkable about it, Dr. Tiller was one of 5 doctors in the United States that would do late-term abortions, legal late-term abortions. After he was murdered several years ago, 4 doctors went to various clinics throughout the U.S. and set up. And based on all the travails that they're going through, all the challenges that they go through, these doctors are open and honest about the situation. This is not some sort of weird commercial for either pro-life or anti-choice or whatever way I want to go.
Jason, we gotta go.
These are amazing things. So honestly, these docs are incredible. Anyway, thanks so much. I could run on about this, but Hot Docs was amazing.
Jason. That was great. Thanks
all
so
the
much.
best.